back, everybody, to another edition of Off the Top Media's predictions. Tonight, we are going to be focusing on WrestleMania, and I got the entire crew here with me. We got Will, AJ, Richie Mars, Cam, a returning Shadow, and then Nate out of nowhere, who's been gone for like years. So let's get started on this tonight. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Phenomenal, even.
I love it that the Steelers haven't won in weeks.
I feel right.
This is off season. What are you talking about?
No, the Steelers win all season. They just lose when the playoffs come around.
They lose when it matters. That's what hurts the most.
Hey, I'm a Lions fan. I get it.
Ooh,
We don't even get to win.
All right. So WrestleMania has 2 nights going on. There's 7 matches on each night of the card. We're going to start off with the match that's opening up night 1. Jey Uso versus Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
That's
Who wants to
opening?
start first? That's opening night 1. Yes.
That's crazy.
I like it.
They've done it before, so I'm not.
I would have
really-
opened it night 2, not
I kind of feel it's similar to when Seth opened with Brock Lesnar that one time. I think it's just a good way to get energy going into the crowd and let's go.
No, it's a
First
lot
thing
of
you have
eating.
come out would be Jey Uso with that entrance.
Mm-hmm.
That's a way to get the crowd right into it.
Absolutely.
It's better than putting them in the middle of the card where like the audience might die down a little bit from like another match. So might as well just like give them the full attention and just kind of make it from there.
There's going to be a lot of eating.
No, they're gonna sit on their hands.
All right, so let's go. I'll start, and then we'll go around the room. So
But it's
I think
square.
they're gonna what?
But it's square. How are we going to go around it?
Haven't missed you, Shadow. It's great. I think they're going to start the show and start WrestleMania with the title change. I think Jey Uso's winning this belt. Will?
Okay, I'm going to give my prediction as a fan, and that prediction is that Jey Uso will win the belt. I think, however, if they were to really milk this story, have him lose and build the Cody Rhodes way and have him climb that ladder for a year. But I'll say Jey Uso will win, even though I don't want him to.
You don't want him to?
No, I think that this story is made. If you remove the whole I want to win my dad's belt thing, which was the most intriguing part of that for him, like Cody's story was, good, not great without the whole Dusty Rhodes thing. I think that Jay's story inherently is better because him climbing that ladder and going from zero to hero over the next 12 months would essentially give someone who isn't named Roman or Rock a world title reign in that family. And I think if you make it seem bigger than just, he won Rumble Mania title. You know what I mean? That's what everybody's expecting. Shake it up. Rumble Mania loss at Mania. And then Jey Uso has to build. Maybe not even all the way till next Mania. Give him till SummerSlam. And then he takes the belt off of Gunther, maybe. But c'est la vie. I think Jay gets the win.
Cam?
Yeah, I'm with Will. I really don't particularly want Jey Uso to win this championship. I just like Gunther too much, but I think it's gonna be Jay. They're building him up too much right now. So, and he's got the hot hand right now. He's most popular, one of the most popular on Raw right now. So I think it's gonna be Jey Uso.
Shadow?
To what Will said, yeah, I can see that the whole drive for another year, but I mean, we've already seen, in a sense, that drive already with him losing intercontinental title shots and losing other world titles. Like, he's had that build without the year-long build of the next Mania. So I like what you said on that, but I don't like it. But that's not what your point was. Your point was Jay was going to win anyways. But I think Jay is going to win also. But at the same time, we could see a Lesnar-Cena situation where Gunther just destroys Jay.
Okay. Nate?
I think this match might be one of the most, out of the major matches on the card, I think this might be the most obvious result. I think WWE is going to ride the hot hand. Jey Uso sells tons of merchandise. He's interactive with the crowd, which is a massive part of it. I think one of the things that people seem to forget about WWE is that not every single guy that's pushed to the top of the card is going to be that guy who's going to go out there and give you a 5-star Matt classic every time he walks out there. It's always been about gimmicks. It's always been about popularity. Jey Uso's got it. He's got a gimmick right now that sticks with the audience, a popularity that honestly, even when he gets his ass kicked, doesn't fall. Like I went to a show a few months back when they were in Detroit, and it was deafening when he came out, like beyond deafening. I couldn't hear his music because the crowd was so loud. I think they ride the hot hand. Jey Uso is a great choice for a champion. I don't think it's going to be a particularly long reign, because it doesn't need to be. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be like a Cody Rhodes reign or a Roman Reigns reign, for God's sake, or a Gunther reign, right? I don't think that Gunther is going to lose anything in defeat. I think he's going to take some time off, come back, and be even more vicious than ever. I don't know. I think they're just going to ride the hot hand. I think it's going to be a lot better of a match than people might want to lead on. I think Jey Uso is going to turn in a career best performance like he did when he was feuding with Roman. So I think Jey Uso's coming with it, and he's gonna show up and show out.
AJ?
I think Jay's gonna win, but it's gonna have a play into my prediction later on night 2 to find out later.
And Richie?
The fans are going to win. No. Jey Uso is going to win, mostly because that's pretty much what the story has been portrayed. The first part of this build was kind of on first gear for a while. Like, you had the A-Town Down Under stuff. You had the Alpha Academy stuff that was just kind of like just sort of there. And it really didn't like kick into high gear until we got the Jimmy stuff. And with Jay, it's I agree with people here. It doesn't need to be a terribly long reign. I think up to SummerSlam would be fine enough. But Jay is has that rare quality that he connects with the people, and the people are the ones that are emotionally invested in him, for better or for worse. And a lot of people don't really like who are just like, oh, but his in-ring work, it doesn't really matter. Every move that he hits, the crowd is with him for. You know, they're chanting like yeet for just a couple of punches. So. Like, I think Jay's going to win. I think it's well-deserved and well-earned, and can't wait to see this match because their first 3 were really good, and I hope to see them top it.
So we had a clean sweep across the board with everybody picking Jey Uso. Okay, I like it.
I got a bonus question to ask on this.
Okay.
How many false finishes do we get?
Define false finish.
Well, how many times we're going to get like right down to the nitty-gritty of almost 3?
Like 1, 2. Oh. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
4.
Okay.
I'll set the over-under at 4. We going over or under? Let's go.
I'd say at least 4.
I would have set the over-under at 10.
That's a lot.
You got to keep in mind that WWE utilizes the false finish as a crutch in a match. Think about how many times they use them before they go to commercial breaks. They use them before they go to spots for ads. WWE will use a false finish as a period in the point of the match they're trying to make so they can start another segment inside of that match.
Watch Cena versus Rock 2 and tell me how many fucking finishes are in that match.
I would agree with that, if it was a TV match, but it is a PLE, so there are no commercials or segments like that.
I will say at least 10.
I could see the finish being Gunther makes a mistake since they've been hyping up Jay's not been like doing a lot of stuff. So I think Gunther making a mistake here would go with the story, and then you just kind
Actually,
of
pretty smart.
evolve it from there. Because now Jay's in Gunther's head, and a lot of people didn't really catch it on the go home edition of Raw, where it's like Gunther's the one shouting and yelling at Jay, and Jay's the one being cool, calm, and collected. So I think that's a good full circle moment for the story in general. And then what you do, like Gunther takes time off, and then like you could like put him on SmackDown if Cody's still the champion. You know, you could revisit that story. And I will say that Gunther's World Championship reign, like match quality wise, I think has kind of fell short with a lot of people, but character wise, he's done phenomenal. Like he's done really great work.
Kane, how about you?
I'm gonna say 5 at least.
I think there'll be 6. But thanks, Cam, for commenting on that, because I was just going to say to Al, there are commercials, but it's after the matches. It's where, for the people that are on the premium without the ads, just see like all the video packages. They don't actually go to commercial during the match.
Or if you're in Canada, we get a cooler.
Yeah, because you're on you have Netflix.
Yep.
I wait for the day that I can just have one program for WWE to watch.
I do. It's nice.
All
I mean,
right.
you can too with a VPN. You guys just choose not to. That's on you, not me.
Not paying for a VPN service to use another service.
I guess marriage and prostitution are the same thing. But anyways, go ahead.
Next match. Just predictions on this one because there's really not much to talk about. New Day versus War Raiders. Richie, you can start this one.
I'll go New Day. I think the New Day's like WrestleMania drought comes to an end right here. You know, I think New Day's the hotter hand compared to the War Raiders. The Raw Tag Team titles are gonna be theirs.
Okay. AJ?
New Day.
Nate?
Okay. I'm a little bit more intrigued in this match than most people seem to be. I will say that. The New Day have been very one trick for about a decade, honestly. Like it's been the same shtick for a decade. And they finally get this heel turn, and the heel turn is executed beautifully. And I will say this, I don't think they've been getting enough TV time lately after that. I think they should have been pushed a little more. I will say this, I think the War Raiders are quietly, very quietly, the best tag team in WWE right now. I really hope they're given some good time to work with because they are so underrated as workers. And obviously you got guys
That's a hot take.
you got guys like, oh, I will die on that hill. And then you got guys like Xavier and Kofi who are seasoned veterans. Kofi can work a good match with pretty much anybody. I think it's a it's a sleeper. It could be one of the best matches of the night that it's on. I do think the New Day wins. I think they're going to ride that momentum that they have right now. I think it's going to be underrated. I think it's going to be underrated and probably one of the top 3 or 4 matches of the weekend.
Okay. So you said that you think New Day's going to win?
I do, yes.
Okay. Chat up.
I say War Raiders win, but there's a little hiccup in it. New Day is going to get right down, and there's going to be almost 3, and then you're going to hear, you want to go big? Just say that. And then Big E's going to interrupt it, and then the War Raiders will win.
Like he doesn't even come out. His music
No,
gets hit.
just the music hits.
Cam?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be the New Day. I definitely think they will have a much better run than the Viking Raiders right now. I think right now the reason why they've had a run as long as they have is because they were hurt for that time period and they didn't really do much. So this run's kind of been like, I don't know, the pity reign, I guess, from Triple H to give them this long of a run. But it's run its course. There's really nothing for them to do. They've reached their ceiling pretty quickly. So The New Day need to be the ones to revive those titles on Raw.
Cam hates them because their beards are beautiful.
No.
Will?
New Day by a mile. I agree with everything Nate said. So I'll just say, yeah, I'll piggyback off everything he said. Right now, New Day's hot. I think the War Raiders are pound for pound maybe the best tag team, but giving the belts to Hill New Day going into a hot summer, there's nothing bad that can happen from that.
I'm gonna pick New Day. I think that is a hot take on them being the top tag team in WWE right now, with teams like MCMG, Street Profits.
My problem with that is, and I will say this: the Street Profits are probably my number 2 right now because they've been stellar since the turn of the calendar. I will say my beef with MCMG is that I don't think WWE has let them go full speed, because I think they're a lot better than what they have been given so far. I think they were rushed into the title scene, but they're obviously, and as far as talent goes, one of the best of all time.
What do you mean full speed? Chris Sabin was on WWE speed. Alex Shelley's going to be on speed next week, so they're going to be full speed.
Welcome to Richie.
I'm done. That's it. I'm out.
Just one more thing to touch on. I'm just reading here from the IWC because the IWC loves to chat. Your predictions are saying that Triple H is going to give a tag team of color the belts.
They already have the belts on SmackDown.
Am I missing my point here? I'm just making fun of the IWC.
I know what you're saying, but what you should be saying is Triple H is actually putting a male person of color on a pay-per-view, on a PLE. That's what everybody was arguing about for the last...
I don't want to be sexist. Can't say that.
But speaking of that, moving on. Next match we're going to have is the rivalry match. Naomi versus Jade. I'll start this one off. This is the first women's singles match that does not include a title in 23 years. Yeah.
Damn.
23 years since they've had a women's singles match that did not include a title. And these two women deserve it with the story that's going on. And I think Naomi is on her best run right now that she's ever had in WWE. And I think she's going to beat Jade. Well,
I think Jade counts the lights. Naomi gets the win. This may be the best women's match of the night, or best women's match of the weekend. So yeah, I think Naomi gets the win.
Cam?
Yeah, I would say Naomi gets the win here. She definitely needs to be pushed in the right direction. She really hasn't been pushed in, I think, the right direction since she came back, I think. So I think it's her time to really shine here. So they're good. They're definitely going to give Jade Cargill a lot of shine in this as well. She's kind of back to the Jade Cargill of old, like we've seen in AEW, with her being like, the meaner, kind of more dominant version of her. But no, I think Naomi definitely needs to win more. So,
Shadow?
I'm going to go Naomi as well, but I need Jade to get on the mic and start talking shit, and then Brandy come out and tell her who's open mic night, bitch, kind of thing again. We need that. Be great.
Nate?
I think this match is a huge test for Jade Cargill. We know Naomi is probably one of the more underrated women in the ring in WWE. I think she can work pretty much with anybody and put on at least a decent match. I don't think no one's confusing her with Charlotte Flair as far as technical ability goes. But I do think that this is a huge test for Jade Cargill, and I think it's a huge spotlight for the women's division to be in a situation where a title's not on the line, and it's just a good old-fashioned grudge match. Jade Cargill has been presented like a beast since she got here. I think this is the time where they kind of test to see how she responds to a loss. And I think Naomi, with some underhanded bullshit tactics, takes the win. And it honestly, Naomi winning helps both of them. So I think Naomi's going to win.
AJ?
I think Naomi's going to. It's going to lead into backlash where Jade will get the win back.
In a cage.
In a cage.
Rage in a cage.
And Richie, your thoughts?
I think Naomi wins. I don't think it's gonna be like if Jay wins now, then the story is pretty much done. I think they continue the story. Naomi gets the win, and then we continue this issue past WrestleMania.
Let's move on. This one I just want the predictions for. United States Championship. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu.
LA Knight.
Jacob Fatu.
Nate?
Jacob Fatu. And I think it's going to be an ass kicking.
Piggyback Jacob Fatu, and I would say less than 5 minutes on the match time.
Squash.
I'm gonna say Fatu, and it's just gonna be a squash match.
Cam?
Jacob Fatu.
So Richie's the only one that's going with LA Knight. He thinks he's the only one that's going to retain.
I want to ask why. I just want your thoughts.
The solo storyline that's going in is kind of going to come to a head a little bit.
Do you think
And
Solo's going to screw him?
not on purpose?
Not on
Probably by
purpose.
accident.
You know what?
Probably by accident.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, because it's like they're teasing like Jacob is kind of done with Solo and stuff. And I believe this is night 1 or night 2.
Night one.
Night one. Depending on whether or not Solo is Randy's opponent, which I hope is not the case. But with this would be their main appearance, and Solo just trying to help Jacob would just get that WrestleMania moment of Jacob finally snapping and then attacking Solo and Tama, and then you follow that up at Backlash.
I do have one question before we move on.
Mhm.
Will Solo Sikoa ever get a match at WrestleMania instead of just interfering?
No.
Probably not.
Next question.
All right, move on.
Wrestle Cena. When did he wrestle Cena?
Crown
That was
Jewel.
at a Saudi Arabia show.
Okay. So WrestleMania Jace. All right. The WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I'm just gonna say I think Tiffany's keeping the belt. Well,
Is there a way for them both to lose? Asking sincerely. Well, I'm going to say I want a no contest finish because they go into a straight ass shoot fight in the middle of the match and they have to be separated by officials. That's what I want. Tiffy will probably retain because I don't think they're going to put the belt on Charlotte with her behavior. So Tiffany Stratton will win this match.
Cam?
I'm praying to God Tiffany Stratton retains his championship. So I'm going Tiffany Stratton.
Well, I would love to see that no contest shoot, though. I think that'd be fucking awesome if they did that. Shadow?
I agree with Will on the no contest, and then we have a Ludwig on a pole match. But for real, I don't give a shit about Charlotte winning, and I don't give a shit enough about Tiffany lately, where anything is landing with me. So I mean, if I really have to come down to it, I'll go Charlotte.
Nate?
Fuck Charlotte right now. But it's amazing. What's up, Malik? It's amazing how similarly Will and I have been thinking tonight, because I was thinking the same fucking thing. I just want a huge ass brawl between these two. Maybe the match doesn't even get started. Maybe they just beat the shit out of each other. Security has to hold them back, like dozens of security. We see Charlotte kick one. We see Tiffany bitch slap one. You know what I mean? I just want a good old-fashioned brawl that just everyone gets hit. Like, you ever see Semi-Pro? You ever see the movie Semi-Pro where they're, like, on national TV or whatever, and they cut to commercial, and Will Ferrell just yells, "Somebody hit somebody!" I want that. That's what I want.
I yelled that at hockey games.
Yeah.
For my kids.
But, I if I had to pick a winner, I think they're going to go towards Charlotte Flair, which I hate more than anything. But I'm guessing, I hope it's a no contest like that.
AJ.
I'm going Charlotte just to piss off the IWC.
Woo!
Richie.
I'm going Charlotte, and not to piss off the IWC, but because they've been teasing Charlotte and Jade for a little bit. So I think with Jade being preoccupied with Naomi, you still have Charlotte defending the championship throughout the year, and then you have that probably at the SummerSlam matchup right there.
Oh. I don't really want to see that if I'm going to be there.
I might be there too, so I'm not really enjoying that.
Where's SummerSlam at this year?
In
MetLife
in the shadows of New York City, as they say, because they don't want to say Jersey.
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
Nobody
Is it at
wants to
MetLife?
It's what?
Is it at MetLife?
Yeah, it's where the Giants and Jets play. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the first 2-night SummerSlam.
I'm actually excited for that. I love
Only
two-night.
relevant team in New York is the Jets, anyways.
Hot take. I love 2-night PLEs.
I do too. It allows them to be able to do what they're doing for Mania like this, where there's more
And
matches.
there's no crowd burnout at the end of the night.
What do you mean? Nobody likes 8-hour pay-per-views like AEW does? Come on.
Oh my God. All right, let's move on.
All right, moving on.
My bad.
I mean, I really am just going to give my prediction on this match. I don't know if you guys want to do the same or if you want to talk about it, but Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
I give no fucks. I don't care.
Richie.
Just a disgrace that Chad Gable once again is not going to be on the WrestleMania card this year.
It's bullshit.
El Grande Americano is actually in the Speed tournament. I'm not sure if anybody follows WWE Speed, but he is a part of the tournament. And I think that's going to go well for him. And I don't think we get the unmasking angle at WrestleMania. I think they prolong the story a little bit longer. So, probably Americano.
Who's the Speed champion? Is it still Ricochet?
It's
Wow.
yeah, it's
Well, Ricochet's up there.
It's Dragon Lee. He got sent back to his home planet.
AJ?
Ice already got to him? Damn. All right.
El Grande.
Nate?
I think it's going to be El Grande, but I agree. I think it's way too soon that we figure out who's under that mask. I don't even know who it could be. It's ridiculous. It could be Ultimo Dragon for all we know, just coming out of retirement.
I haven't seen Omos in a while, so it could be him.
That's true. Or Becky. It could be Becky Lynch. We don't know. But, all right, yeah. It's going to be El Grande Americano, but that match is going to be probably a fun little sprint. I think it's going to be awesome.
Shadow?
The last person that followed WWE Speed was Matt Riddle, and he was fired. We're not talking about that Speed, are we?
He offered me Coke once. Continue.
Ariana Grande is winning this match. I mean, whatever. Americana Grande, whatever.
Cam?
I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio, and I think we get the unmasking. Who knows who it could be? It could be Tajiri for all we know. I don't know. So, yeah.
Do you like me some Tajiri?
Will?
Probably Ariana.
Underrated.
I think Rey Mysterio wins, and we put a bow on this story.
I agree. And now we're coming to the final match of night one. This is the Paul Heyman on a pole match, triple threat. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. What, Shadow?
I don't know.
I think Seth Rollins is winning this match. And I think we're going to get Paul Heyman leaving with him as opposed to any of the other two. and it's just going to be one of those where Roman and Punk are both sitting in the corner after losing with their jaws hitting the mat. Like, I did not see that coming at all. Well,
I agree with everything you said. I think Seth Rollins wins. He joins with Heyman, and that's where we kick off the build between now and next year, because this will be the start of a new story at the end of another one, which is what WrestleMania should be used for. So I think it's Paul Heyman leaving Roman, betraying his best friend Punk, and joining with Seth Rollins, and that starts kind of a new era and angle for both Rollins, Punk, Roman, and the wise man Paul Heyman.
now, before I go on to Cam, do you think that Seth and Heyman join Cena and The Rock? Because Seth said the same thing in his promo. I have to do what I think is best for business. And that's what
The
Cena
reason you caught on that because of my dad, so fuck you.
I think
Not the
that
best for business, but
I think that a bunch of people need to remember that in 2024, amongst a bunch of trademarks that The Rock filed, one of which was Team Corporate. So I definitely think that's probably the direction we're going. Is it's going to be the WWF Corporation from the Attitude Era, just in 2025, like the reincarnate of it. It'll be Rock, it'll be Cena, it'll be Heyman, it'll be Seth Rollins. Wouldn't surprise me if a Becky eventually joins. Like, this will be the ultimate, like, heel corporation, like, we're better than you and you know it type shit. Yes, I used that phrase on purpose because this contract will be up in a couple of years.
Cam?
Well, CM Punk. I mean, man, and again, I'm biased just because I'm a CM Punk guy, but I mean, and that's just, regardless of what happens with the Paul Heyman thing, turn, no turn, I don't know, but a lot of people were saying Seth with Paul Heyman walking out together, or whatever. I'm saying CM Punk. I'm with the idea that Will had talked about with the whole corporation thing, just in this era or whatever. Because I think I don't know if I want to say that the product is in need of like another like big bad faction or whatever, but it wouldn't hurt, but they would definitely have to put people in there that have been like top guys for a while now, or the company's really been behind to really make it work, I think. So I'm not really against that idea either, but I think CM Punk, this will, I think, then set up him in future world championship opportunities, things of that nature, down the line somewhere. But yeah, I'm taking CM Punk.
Shadow?
I don't know. I'm really torn because I like all three of them. But I spoke to you earlier, and I feel like the turn's coming either way. Doesn't matter if Seth wins or not. That turn is coming. I'm going to guess wrong here, clearly, but I think Roman walks out. Or at least wins. I don't know if he walks out, but he wins.
Okay. Nate?
I'm going to kind of be as optimistic as I can possibly be over what I want to happen. What I want to happen, and you guys kind of touched on it already, is a big heel corporate faction. We already know Seth Rollins is willing to sell his soul to the corporation, to the authority or whatever, whoever it is, to get what he wants. So I think, and I will officially lock this in as my prediction: Seth Rollins, with an assist from Paul Heyman, whether he refuses to help Roman or refuses to help Punk in a situation where Rollins is about to get pinned, something like that. I don't know. But think about this. Seth Rollins has plenty of history with Cena. He has plenty of history with Rock, weirdly enough. Plenty of history with Jey Uso. And I think it would be kind of fitting if Rollins pinned Reigns in this match with help from Paul Heyman, and then in very quick order took the World Heavyweight Championship from Jey Uso. And I think with those two, Cena and Rollins, just kind of being these massive heel champions, it gives guys like Jey Uso Cody Rhodes, Punk, Roman Reigns. The stories write themselves for all of those people to try and get those titles off of them. And I think that is the best route to go storyline wise. So I'm going to lock that one in. Seth Rollins.
And I'm going to hot tag real quick. You get the built-in story of The Rock going, none of my family could do it, so I had to bring in my people to do it. And you get Cena with a belt. You get Seth with a belt. Oh, yeah, there's a lot they could do with this whole Rock being the guy thing. Agreed.
Tag real quick before AJ. What if, going off what Nate said and what Will said in a sense, but Jay is the other man that joins instead of Seth?
Yeah.
I don't hate that idea.
Because you're going back to that dark place now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AJ. My bad.
That's what I was going to say. Part to my night too. They have all the shenanigans, kind of like last year. Jay comes out to celebrate with Cody, and then The Rock does the cutthroat thing like he did with Cena at Chamber. Jay turns on Cody night two.
I think if they're going to do that and have Jay turn, so to speak, I think he helps Cena win more than anything else, and not does the same thing that Cena did, because that'd be repeating the same thing within a 2-month period. So I think if they're going to do that and Jay is the one that's going to be, he's going to help Cena win, and then they're going to have 2 belts in Rock's faction.
Just pointing out at Bad Blood or whatever it was. Sorry, Richie, I'm not trying to. At Bad Blood, Rock counted to 3, not 2. He only counted to 2 at Chamber.
Well, he's counting down 3, 2, and then 1.
Just saying.
No, you're absolutely right with that. So AJ, who did you say?
Seth.
Richie?
I'm gonna say Seth.
Got another prediction for that. Who takes the pinfall loss?
Punk.
That's what I was about to say. Punk.
Roman.
It'd be more powerful for Roman, but I think they go Punk with it just because Roman's probably going to take a bit of a hiatus after Mania, and then when you go from there, you could have Rollins and Punk at Backlash in like a specialty match or something. Because I do like the idea of Rollins being the one to join the hypothetical corporate faction, and it would make sense because Rollins did screw Punk out of the Chamber after he was eliminated. So that like everything kind of comes full circle, and then when we get to the night 2 main event, then I think that's when we're gonna see like Cena and Seth kind of in cahoots, so to speak.
I'll tag team off of that real quick. Let me just throw one more thing out there. Let Rollins win. I think let Roman take the pinfall just because it can keep playing up the story that Roman cannot beat Seth when it matters, because he hasn't. He has not been able to pin him in a world title match, in a big pay-per-view match, a main event match. Seth Rollins always has his number. So let that story play out for another year. Let Seth Rollins win the belt from Jay as early as SummerSlam. You know what I mean? If Jay wins. Let him hold it till Mania. Let Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble next year as a babyface where people are actually going to fucking cheer for him, unlike they did 10 years ago. And then let Roman Reigns finally finish that story and finally get that big win over Seth at Mania next year. That's what I want.
If they go with that, I feel that Roman would be taking the pin then.
Absolutely.
And I think that would be more fitting, especially if Heyman turns, that Roman is the one that takes the pinfall because of it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's the end of night 1. Let's head over to night 2. Yeah, yes, Kim. It does sound like a lot of shenanigans. And that's what WrestleMania is known for. You know that. Look at the last 2 years in the main event with all the shenanigans we had.
Especially shenanigans getting pistol whipped.
So now night 2. Let's start with the match that is supposedly going to open the show here, and that's the WWE Women's World Championship match. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. And
Does
Rich,
anybody actually care? I don't see anybody jumping at the bit to do this.
you start off this match.
I don't care. I really don't. Yes, Maria dominant. Sure. Bianca back to her Super Cena ways. Okay. And then you're overlooking the beautiful, sexy EO.
You're just saying that because you have an Asian wife. Shut up.
No, don't worry about it. I got a hot Asian wife. All right, don't worry. I truthfully think EO just retains and the bigger story develops between Bianca and Rhea. That's all I got to say on it.
Richie,
I'm gonna say Io Sky wins and retains, just because the story is both Bianca and Rhea overlooking Io to a certain degree because they're so angry at each other, and I think that cost them. And then Io picks up the win, and then you forward the Rhea Bianca feud for the Evolution pay-per-view that's coming later this year, and you have their singles match there, and then it could be for the championship. Doesn't need to be for the championship, but that's what I think happens.
AJ,
I think Bianca wins because Naomi's going to come out and help her. Because Bianca goes out and helps Naomi beat Jade on night one. Turn Bianca heel. We have never seen Bianca be heel except for when she was in the Mae Young Classic.
she was a heel in NXT when she was whipping everybody with that hair. During the entire rundown in NXT before she came up to the main roster, she was a heel.
She was on the Hill team for the War Games match 2 years in a row.
And I've been saying she should go heel for the longest time now. I don't know if they do that at Mania, though.
If Cena can go heel, everybody's not safe.
This is true. But I don't know if they do that at Mania during this match and give her the belt. Especially with everything that's been going on with her lately.
Nate just looked like a single mom leaving the room because her husband came home.
I don't know. It sounded like a smoke alarm was going off.
Yeah. They took off so quick to get the single mom that the husband came. Oh, she's back.
Stop talking about it.
Is anyone watching Collision right now?
Yes, I am
Yep.
right now.
Yeah,
Rocky Romero just turned heel.
yeah, and Trent is back.
Yep.
Nate, your pick for this match?
I think my problem is I want Io to win, but my problem is I don't think she has an obvious story coming out of WrestleMania, and I think Bianca and Ripley do. I think Bianca wins, and I hate that, but I will say that Bianca's booking has been exponentially better over the last year than it was the years before. I think she's been booked very well to the point where I'm not just going into a Bianca match and thinking, oh, God, she's winning again. What to do? She's one of the most talented women on the roster by a long shot. I think because Io doesn't have an obvious story coming out of Mania, I think this match goes to Bianca so they can play up her undefeated streak at WrestleMania too. So I'm going with Bianca.
Cam?
I'm going Bianca. She's, still the, poster child, I guess, of the company and whatnot have you. For some reason, they keep putting her in, these championship matches or whatever. She was just tag team champion not that long ago. So it's like they literally keep her around a championship just to keep her relevant. So it's unfortunate. I don't dislike Bianca. It's just kind of annoying. But Io, I would like for Io to retain, but I really do think Io is really right now. The reason why she won, the reason why she beat Rhea on Raw was just for the shock and awe. Like nobody expected Io to win that match. But I really don't see her retaining. They've treated her like a little sister in this entire storyline thus far. So I think that's kind of a dead giveaway that she's not retaining. So,
Well,
I think Bianca wins because I feel like going the other side of Mania, she has the most moving parts around her. The Jade story, the Naomi story, everything they can do going through the summer with it plus what Richie said, building into the Evolution pay-per-view, the All Women's pay-per-view. I think that Bianca has a lot of things stacked in her favor. So I say Bianca gets the win over Io, unfortunately, because I think Io did get really overlooked in this reign.
I know this is irrelevant to WrestleMania and none of you really care, but there's a new NHL goal record that was just established. 897.
Every time he scores, it's a new record.
And he's still nowhere near the number of points that Gretzky put up.
Nobody is.
You know, real quick, before we move on, my favorite NHL stat of all time, the fastest person to ever have 1,000 points was Wayne Gretzky. The second fastest to reach another 1,000 points was Wayne Gretzky. That's fucking mind-blowing. Continue.
And you almost made it to 3,000.
I think Io Sky is winning. I want to see Bianca Cena crumble. I want her streak to end. She doesn't need to have this streak going on at WrestleMania. She is not the Undertaker. We don't ever need another streak like that again.
It's the new streak.
We don't need it. If you want to be like that, Rey Mysterio hasn't lost since 2022. Let's have him go on a streak and keep winning. No,
No
she
thanks.
doesn't need this streak. Like
Rey
just
Mysterio hasn't lost
WrestleMania match since 2022.
a WrestleMania match. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like in general. I'm like, the fuck?
No, well, I mean, it feels like Bianca hasn't lost a match in her entire career because all she does is win and overcome odds. But we don't need her winning this. Io, yes, she's been the not focal point during this entire feud. She's been that little sister being pushed around by both of them. I think she comes and beats the shit out of both of them and keeps her belt.
That's fair.
Let's go to a match that no one really cares about at all. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
AJ Styles. Who
AJ
cares?
Styles, let's
Who
move on.
Who cares? Who cares?
You said Paul?
Yeah.
I think you said nobody cares about this match.
They don't. It's
I
the
care.
highlight reel. It's the
I
highlight
care.
reel. Who gives
It's
a
a
shit?
spot match, so Logan
Yeah.
Paul can do something crazy, and AJ Styles
Correct.
can carry him to a halfway decent match.
I give Karrion Cross credit for making the feud interesting with his social media stuff and his character work.
Karen Cross is great. I love Karen Cross. He's amazing.
I would have been more interested in AJ Styles versus Karrion Cross at WrestleMania.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm sad that they wasted it on a match or on what was it? It was Raw, wasn't it? That they did that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
past week.
Yeah.
But it just made the story so much better because of what he did in that match. Like he brought out
Put his hands behind his back and everything.
when he took the phenomenal forearm, he just stood there with his hands. But he brought out the evil side of AJ in that match, and that's what he wanted to happen.
I will say this: I hope this leads to a post WrestleMania push for Karrion Cross because he's way too fucking good to be doing nothing.
It won't. Unfortunately.
He's a Triple H guy, so we'll see what happens.
Once his contract's up, he's gone.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Listen, he's already winning at life. Look who he gets to wake up to.
That's fair.
He'll be back in TNA.
Tits and ass, got it.
I'm
He'll be in
thinking
he'll be in
AJ.
ass.
Will, who do you think?
What match are we on?
AJ Styles,
AJ Styles and who?
Logan Paul.
The YouTube guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
The YouTube guy.
Yeah, no, I'm praying that AJ Styles doesn't take a loss here.
The YouTube guy?
Shadow, you never really gave an answer.
Giving it to the best buckshot lariat man on this planet.
Okay.
Okay, Richie.
The fans, because whether AJ wins or loses, I'm gonna enjoy the reaction either way.
Prime wins because their logo's dead center in the ring. And
Prime's disgusting.
All right.
It's not great.
Sin City Street Fight. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Richie.
Really depends on who our champions are post WrestleMania. I think if it's either Jay or Cody, like I think Drew would probably take it. But I feel like Priest does need the win more, and you could always have Drew get his win back, like AJ did with LA Knight last year. So I would say this one could go either way, but I would just say Drew.
AJ?
I'm going Priest.
Nate?
I'll say that this match has one of the more underrated stories behind it, because the issues between these two go back an entire year, and I think it's been really well told. I think they're both kind of a couple of guys who should be in the world title mix. Obviously, not everybody can be in world title matches every single year at WrestleMania unless their name is Hulk Hogan, John Cena, or Roman Reigns. But
For San Martino. But
What's
he
that?
wasn't in Mania.
what'd you say?
Santina, Bruno San Martino, but he wasn't on WrestleMania.
That's fair. I think this match is going to be could be one of the other like top 3 or 4 best matches on the card because they're both incredible performers in the ring, whether people want to admit it or not. And I got Drew going over because I think he has more to gain from a win right now. I think Damian Priest is, he had a good title reign. It wasn't great, but it was good. I think he's got some work to do before he can get back up to that level. But Drew is still on that level and always will be. So I'm going to give it to Drew.
Shadow?
This match for me is more suited for Backlash than it is Mania, so it really doesn't matter to me where it's placed on the card here in Mania. I don't think it needed to be here. Priest is, again, still the bisexual taker, so I mean, I'm going with that. And then you have Drew, who's still back to he's back to floating around on the roster again with no real purpose. And the Damian Priest feud is just kind of giving him something to do. They dropped the ball with the whole bloodline angle with him.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Drew. But again, this match should have been a Backlash, not Mania.
Cam?
I'm gonna say Drew as well. I really like Drew. I like the direction he's going in right now. And again, I agree with Shadow. He's kind of just floating around right now. Hopefully, this win after this will put him back on the right track that they should have never got off in the first place. If Cody were to retain at Mania, I think Cody and Drew would make a good match for the W Championship. So yeah, it's great that they put him on SmackDown because it gives him a new championship to chase. Because him chasing the world title was getting kind of stale. It's like, okay, are they going to put it on him and have him have a run or not? It was getting kind of old. So this at least gives him a new championship to chase. So either way, I hope this is a meaningful win and they put him back on the right track.
Will?
Scouts. What match?
Yes.
Drew and Damian.
Sin City Street Fight. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest.
Oh, this is an easy pick. Drew McIntyre by a mile. I feel like leaving Mania again. This has been my mantra all the time. Mania is the exclamation point on the year, so you need to be looking at what's going to be happening this summer, the next build and the next stories. And I very much think that Drew is that quintessential chase for the world title. So I think he'll get the win and poise himself to be in that immediate number one contendership for either belt, depending on what they decide to do with him post-Mania. Because brand splits aren't real, drafts don't matter.
Couldn't go a night without saying it, could you?
He needs a T-shirt.
He should have that shirt made up. That would be great.
Brand
I'll work
split.
on it.
Brand
I'd buy
split.
it.
I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre in this. I feel it's the time that he gets back into the title picture like everybody else is saying. So let's move on from there. Next match.
I mean, Jay and Drew kind of writes itself too, but continue.
It does.
You're not wrong with that. Intercontinental Championship. Fatal 4-Way. Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio. This one is a tough one because I'm not upset with anybody that wins this match. I'd be happy with whoever walks out. However,
Call me
I
wait.
think we're going to get Dominic Mysterio winning this belt. And it's going to cause a big feud between him and Finn Balor going forward.
Yep.
Will?
I was paying attention. Finn Balor.
It's only been a minute.
But just for the record, I'm about to get 95 construction. All right.
Of course you're playing new schemes. What else is new?
So, in my opinion, I think that there have been the rumor mill, the dirt sheets, that Finn is going to be poised for one of the biggest pushes in his career. And I think this is going to be the start of that, is him getting the IC title back. Because he had a fantastic run with the IC title when he had the white strapped IC. So I think that Finn starting at the mid-card title, having a great Intercontinental Championship run through maybe till Mania, or not Mania, till Rumble. And then we see Finn slowly work his way back into the world title scene over the next year. So Finn gets the IC.
Cam?
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Scouse. I think initially how I want this to end is like Finn hits the coup de grace, and then right before he's going for the pin, Dom swoops in there, throws him out. 1, 2, 3, goes in there for the sneaky, the cheap win, and then this sets up the feud between Finn and Dom leading into the summer, which I think is going to be fantastic. I want them to bring back basically the rebirth of the old Finn Balor that we had when he was a big deal, when he was the inaugural Universal Champion. Bring that Finn back, because that Finn versus a heel Dom, I think, will be fantastic. So that will pretty much be the end of Judgment Day, essentially. I think they'll still keep, Dom and Liv together as a thing with Raquel, but other than that, I think pretty much Judgment Day after that is pretty much over. I will be kind of shocked if Penta wins, because it's kind of a little bit soon, I guess, for him to win a championship, but I wouldn't be opposed to it either. They've been booking him like $1 million thus far. He still hasn't lost a singles match, I don't think, cleanly, him being pinned to the mat. So I wouldn't be opposed to that either, but I'm taking Dominic Mysterio to win this match.
Shadow?
Too early for Penta to eat a pin and kill his own momentum. We're only 3-4 months into him being in WWE. So really only 12 Raws, 11-ish.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have Braun eat the pin because he's too you don't want to make him look weak. He's going to drop, the title's going to be dropped, but then he's going to be inserted into the world title picture after Mania because of how it's going to unfold. And then you're going to have Dom pin Finn, and then everything else you guys have said is right. Dom's walking out champ.
Nate?
I think one of two things is going to happen. Number one is Penta gets kind of taken out of the equation so that he doesn't have to eat the pin. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio tee off on Braun Breaker, and Dominic steals the pin somehow when things go crazy. Dominic pins Braun Breaker. If Braun Breaker gets his ass kicked by two other dudes, that's not going to hurt his credibility, right? The other thing I think is going to happen is Braun Breaker hits Finn with the most violent, disgusting spear you've ever seen, and Dominic tosses Breaker out and pins Finn Balor.
Like he did Carlito.
Yes. That is one of the I love that fucking spear.
Rest in peace, Carlito.
We'll have to talk about that. That was cool. All right. And I think that I'm leaning towards the second one. I think Dominic's going to pin Finn Balor, and I think it's going to lead to, one, this monster push for Finn Balor moving forward, and two, the exile of Finn Balor from the Judgment Day so that he can go on a babyface run, because that's who we like Finn Balor as. Sure, he's a good heel. He's a very good heel. But Finn Balor is too easily marketed to kids and to honestly everyone that I think he needs to be this big baby face again. And honestly, there's a story to tell with Seth Rollins in there if Seth Rollins ends up being world champion before the year is over. I think either way, I think Dominic is walking out of WrestleMania with the Intercontinental title, and I think it is long overdue. I will die on that hill.
AJ?
I'm going Dom and Finn and Finn, and then Finn leaving for their feud, and then Finn eventually wins Money in the Bank this year. I think Finn gets it this year. And that's how he'll get back into the world title picture. Money in
I
the
like
Bank.
that idea. Richie?
Dom wins by pin and Finn. Breaker will be Jay's first world title program coming out of Mania, following Shadow. Take just because usually if it's somebody's first world title reign, they'll give them somebody that's beat them before in the past, but they're still like in that newer level. So it'll be Jay and Braun post Mania. Dom wins, Finn gets upset. And then we're still going to be teasing the dissension of Finn Balor being ousted from the Judgment Day. And maybe the new Judgment Day member debuts at WrestleMania. Maybe it's Omos, because they were saying they want some muscle in there. And I can't think of somebody more muscly than Omos.
I think Judgment Day is going to be like a Bullet Club kind of faction where it's just people rotating in and out and in and out and in and out for a very long time. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think it serves its purpose. Like Carlitos had like a second life kind of in Judgment Day, new character. He portrays it well. I think JD, it's done wonders for him just by association, and we're gonna see that JD turning on Finn sooner rather than later, and it's gonna hurt on the inside. But you know what? Gotta rip the Band-Aid off eventually.
I don't know. What if Finn dips in to get JD to come and help him?
You see,
with JD's injury and the way he went out, I think he kind of endeared himself to fans a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're gonna tease that, and they're gonna kind of hint towards that, and then probably by SummerSlam, we're gonna see that big tease of JD betraying Finn, and then it's gonna be Heartbreak City.
And I think the thing is with that, JD is way too good of a performer to be like the fourth highest built guy in the day. I think he's got a much higher ceiling than that. World title, maybe not, but mid-card titles, 100%.
I think him being like Dom's best friend will just garner heat, because then you go on from there, get Finn being more sympathetic, because Finn throughout the whole Judgment Day story with Dominic, he's been like really a jerk, and you kind of have to like breed sympathy onto Finn a little bit. That's probably where they're going, at least in my opinion. I could be wrong. I've been wrong.
I'd breathe on whatever he wanted me to.
You think JD McNucklepop is going to turn on Finn Balor?
Yeah, in the future. Scouts, you seem to be having an opinion.
Yeah, I can't see that, considering Finn is the one that brought him into Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Finn is the one that wanted him involved in everything. He's the one that was tag team champion with him.
But
talking about JD turning on Finn?
But where's where was Finn when JD broke his ribs?
In the match.
Raquel Rodriguez.
Finn wasn't there though. Carlito was there.
I think when JD comes back, we don't even get him called JD McDonough. I think he goes back to Jordan Devlin.
I'm okay with that. Dude, that fucking hit was disgusting, though. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Continue.
But yeah, that's the heel logic. You weren't there for me when I needed you most, even though you didn't have to be required to be there. That's how it goes. That's tale as old as time. So JD turning on Finn wouldn't be like out of the ordinary.
Speaking of Judgment Day, women's tag team match: Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria and Bayley.
Champs are retaining. That's it.
This was the match I just took for prediction. So
the only thing that would make that interesting for me is if for some reason leading up to the match, Bayley gets taken out and Becky Lynch takes her place, because her and Lyra have an established history together. That's the only thing that makes sense to me that would make that interesting. But if that doesn't happen, which it probably won't, champs retain.
Richie?
Champs retaining. I think this was like two stories that were kind of like mashed up into one, where I think we were probably going to get the women's tag team titles as is, but Becky was going to be Lyra's partner potentially, and then Bailey and Roxanne would do the tag team that doesn't get along kind of partner, like trying to find their way to Mania. Then we would have a triple threat tag team match. But Roxanne, I believe, got injured post Elimination Chamber, and then after that, Becky just didn't like creative, so going from there.
AJ,
Champs retain.
Will,
Champs retain.
Cam,
Champs retain.
and Shadow.
Now ask Will what match we're on.
The women's tag team championship match.
Hey, let's go.
I do want to throw one thing out there, though. I think, and this is just because I always try to be as unbiased as possible. I think Liv Morgan is on one of the best runs
Cheers.
in the women's division in the last couple of years. Like, aside from Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, I can't think of one that's been as good and easy to watch.
Her whole heel persona thus far has been the best thing Liv Morgan's ever done.
Oh, 100%.
So
And it
That's
started.
close.
hard to do when your career's been pretty much being nothing but blonde.
I mean,
the whole time.
that's true, Will, but I'm just saying.
Like that's
I'm
not
gonna throw
hard
this
to
out
do.
I'm going to throw this out there, and y'all might not want to hear it because I know everyone loves to hate the guy. I'm pretty sure the reason is because she's paired up with fucking Dominic. Dominic Mysterio makes so much that he does great. And I can't explain it. He's just entertaining.
He is.
He does great for my TikTok numbers, so yes, I agree. He is very great. Yeah,
God knows.
he's a draw for me. You know, him, Jay, Rhea, all of them. They're just draws.
And God knows, God bless Raquel Rodriguez. I don't have anything against her. She's fine. She's good in the ring most of the time. She's a black hole of personality. There's nothing there to get interested about. So it's Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Should be a power couple.
That's how I felt about Sonya Deville. But
Yeah, I could see that.
Shadow.
She can at least work a microphone. Raquel Rodriguez, if she picks up a microphone, I'm muting my TV.
What?
Did you pick a winner for this match?
I did.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Champs.
In reference to what Nate said about Becky Lynch coming back, I think she shows up on the Raw after Mania and goes after Lyra and the IC belt
I'd be okay with that too.
because they had a built-in storyline with that for the last 4 months. I think she was supposed to show up on the Raw debut on Netflix, and something didn't work out, and they got away from that. And I think they 100% screwed up not having Roxanne versus Bailey at Mania because that was the whole direction going back down to Vengeance Day in NXT.
Yeah.
And they
And I w-
dropped the storyline and fucked that up.
Well, allegedly, the match Becky turned down was a multi-person match, so that's
Fair.
probably part of the reason why as well.
I'll say this too: Lyra Valkyria is one of the best women's performers in the ring on the roster.
No, she's great.
If she could get some kind of fucking character development, she'd easily be one of the top women on the planet.
She's one of the few women who will come out to crickets, but then by the end of the match, everyone's on their feet.
That match she had versus Bailey.
She definitely stepped her game up too. I think ever since winning that championship, and it's been so much more aggressive. So
her feud with Becky was great too. So I kind of throw that out there also. But Becky brings out the best in most people.
Okay, so we have 2 matches left. Well, 1 match and 1 supposed match. Supposedly, Randy Orton is going to have an open challenge at WrestleMania. And that's how he's going to get on the card. So I want... Yes, Shadow?
Oh, just making a page.
You were like raising your hand, so I thought you had something to say.
I do, but I'll wait.
I want to know who you think he's going to wrestle in this match.
Rusev.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just throwing out names.
That's one of the names that has been thrown out there, though, as being an opponent for him at Mania.
Get okay. We've seen all the vignettes for the last like however long, right? 4 and 25, right? I think that middle date is missing. I think it's 4/25, April of 2025,
Mhm.
and the 20 is Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. Not RVD.
I could see that happening. I just don't want him. He can't come in and lose to Randy Orton.
He doesn't need to lose to Orton. He doesn't need to necessarily be a lose to that match.
It's Matt Riddle confirmed.
Shut up.
Michigan Jesus all excited.
The match with just with Randy, I feel like he needs to win because Backlash is in St. Louis, and you kind of want to build momentum for whatever match Randy's gonna get.
Who do you think his opponent's going to be?
I would love it to be Nick Aldis because Aldis doesn't like lose anything from losing to Randy. He gets a match at Mania. Story's kind of like already there, kind of.
Not to mention Nick Aldis is younger than half the roster.
That's another thing that I keep going back to, where I'm just like, Aldis is younger than Cody, so it's like he could feasibly like just get in there. I think he's recovered from his torn bicep.
That was 3 years ago.
No, there was like it was kind of recently because I remember like last year he had like
Yeah, he did have an injury last year, but he is from what I've heard, he is fully cleared.
Yeah, so it's like I would like to see all this. He keeps himself in good shape, so I would just like it. So it'd be cool.
I guess bonus question: if Nick Aldis returns to the ring and becomes an actual like performer in the ring, who becomes SmackDown general manager?
So
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
You know what? Gregory Helms is not a bad choice.
I mean, he's already there every week. You see him on TV.
He has a great Titantron too, Gregory Helms. The sunglasses, the head tilt. Oh, love it.
I don't think he comes back as a full-time wrestler. I think it's a one-off.
I'd be fine with that too.
It's one of those occasional performances we had, like what Kurt Angle did. If all this does well,
Kurt Angle is an honorary member of the Shield.
He is. I've seen it. So happy, so bald.
That's something at that TLC pay-per-view. I think that's something we need to dive into another time because they're like the entire roster was sick, and like all the shuffling they had to do for that fucking card. I really want to get into that sometime.
I think it was only like 2 people that were really sick, like 2 or 3 people. Roman Bray was one.
Bray was one because it was supposed to be Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Pumpkin Demon. Yeah, it was going to be Pumpkin Demon.
But like there was a bug that went through the entire locker room. Half of the roster wasn't at that show.
Yeah, and they had to call AJ from South America, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, and so AJ can make it. And then Vince is like, I owe you. He cashed in his I owe you one from Vince and won the title from Jinder.
Was that when AJ fought Finn?
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
I
a
remember
fucking
that.
phenomenal match.
Yeah, it was a banger.
No backstory.
Apparently, both of them got heat by doing the Bullet Club. Too sweet
sure.
at the end.
I'm sure.
Sucks.
Well, probably Balor did because AJ won the title a couple weeks after. It's Balor's fault.
Moving on.
I think Rusev coming back and taking a loss would be fitting because he would not job over in AEW, and that's part of the reason why he left. He didn't want to lose, so I think that would be like welcome back type thing. Aleister Black, I think, is going to show up on the SmackDown after Mania. I think it's 4/25 is what I think the date is because that's a week from tomorrow.
I like my idea better. Fuck you.
I know you do. You're not wrong. You're okay to think that. I just don't think it was.
I'm not wrong. Everybody heard it.
Can we not eliminate the possibility that it could be Shinsuke Nakamura? That would be one of the most uninteresting choices, but I'm just fucking around.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot all about Shinsuke.
Right? He was the IC champion or United States champion this year.
Yes.
This year. Oh.
Poor Shinsuke.
But Now we have the main event of night 2. Undisputed Championship. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Who wants to start this one?
I think Richie should. He is the biggest stan ever of John Cena.
I don't know where these rumors come around, Shadow. But I like both Cena and Cody. I think this has been the, I guess, most well built match out of all of them, just like from hype alone. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Cena wins in the main event. I don't think if he loses, the heel turn is like ruined forever, like a lot of people have been telling me. Just depends on how the story goes on. Honestly, it really depends what they do on SmackDown, because the old tale of wrestling is if you stand tall at the end of the go home show, you're probably not going to win. But
I guess that confirms Gunther's losing.
yeah. So I think 50-50. I do think it's like I'm going like more with my head than what my I think Cody takes this, because I feel like he needs like an establishment win as a champion. And I think defeating a John Cena would be an establishment win. I do think like Seth Rollins, like if they do the John Cena championship win, Seth Rollins does the chair shot to Cody, just because Seth, your team with Roman, you're bad now. I don't like being your stepping stone, and then you could pivot off to Cody and Rollins if you really want to. But I think Cody takes it here.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
Jonathan Aloysius Bartholomew Cena.
I don't think that's his middle name.
Yes, absolutely. It is for this podcast. It is.
Pretty sure it's
Yes.
Felix Anthony.
It is Felix Anthony.
It is, yeah. I know my stuff. Like Shadow says, I'm the biggest John Cena fan.
Well, yeah, I'm taking Cena.
Where are you taking him to?
Disney!
I'm sorry.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Fuck it, I'll do it.
Who is okay? Yeah.
All right. So I think the heel turn for Cena was executed about as perfectly as you could make it. Because, like, even if some people were like, "Yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah, I saw it coming," you didn't truly see it coming, because you can never actually fully believe that WWE was going to pull the trigger on this, because he's the one guy aside from Rey Mysterio from WWE who hasn't done it. Like, and he was the poster child for WWE for well over a decade. And I think I even remember, I was sitting in my living room watching this, and it was just Brittany in the room with me, right? So I'm like, why is he hugging Cody? This is weird. And then I see The Rock do the throat slash. I'm like, no. So like my 10-year-old self was like, oh my God. And my 30-year-old self was like, I'm about to nut to this. All right, anyways. So I think it's been executed really well. The only problem I have with it so far is The Rock has been absent. And I don't think The Rock needs to be on TV every single week, because that'd be overkill. But like he aligns himself with The Rock, and then all of a sudden The Rock is just absent. Which what the fuck? I need some kind of clarity there. So I'm hoping we see some kind of clarity in the future, and hopefully this weekend. I do think they roll with Cena winning this, because I think it's the best story to tell. The only other thing I could see happening is Cody ekes out a win somehow. Defeats all the interference again, and then Cena wins the Money in the Bank, sneaks his way into the Money in the Bank match.
Brock Lesnar stuff.
And the reason I say that is Cena's won the Money in the Bank briefcase before, and
Never been successful.
his cash-in got fucked up because of the Big Show, and because of, you could indirectly say, because of The Rock.
No, it was fucked
Or
up because
CM Punk.
No, he called his shot early,
Yeah.
and he lost because I thought it was because of
EQ, wasn't it?
Yeah, Big Show attacked Cena.
Big Show attacked, yeah.
Okay.
And
I
so
think
that
it's something
whole
else.
thing involved CM Punk, The Rock, and Big Show, and it was a big thing. You could ultimately view that as maybe The Rock is rectifying that situation by letting Cena win the Money in the Bank and cash it in. But I do think Cena walks away from WrestleMania as champion. That's the best story to tell right now.
Well,
I think that Cena wins, but I have beef with the Cena heel turn. Okay. And I'm going to make this quick. I'll try to do it in 60 seconds flat. When Cena turned heel, a lot of people were like, hey, this is as big as Hogan. Okay. Now, here's the gimmick. All right. Here's why it's not as big as Hogan. Because when Hogan came in and dropped that leg, you know what him and the Outsiders did every single week after that? They showed up for fucking work. You can count on one hand how many times The Rock has been involved with this story. And if it wasn't for the fact that John Cena and Cody Rhodes collectively have carried it on their backs through their promos, there would be nothing else to go off of. WWE has a long-standing issue with their stories around the belts being bigger than the actual belts. And this is another one about that. This is all about Cena's heel turn and about him winning 17, less about Cody defending his title at the biggest show of the year. With that being said, 5 seconds to go. Suck my nuts.
Present them.
We like punctuality.
Thanks.
Shadow.
Your mic was off.
You muted.
That was the perfect fucking opportunity for it or something like that. And I completely fucking blew it. It's my whole gimmick and I forgot it.
It happens.
I forgot my mic. But going off Nate's point, he was sitting in his living room. I was sitting up rows from the ring during that, breathing that air. And just the air sucked out of that building for a brief second. And then the air went rushing back in as soon as Cena did it. And watching the wife cry was hilarious. But I'm going to go with Cena to win.
AJ?
I'm going with Cody.
It's got to be Kane.
You're going with Cody?
Yeah. 'Cause when are
I
we
think
going to see Cody versus Randy? Randy is the headline poster star right now. Cause yes, Backlash is in St. Louis. He's from there. So if we get a Randy heel turn
Randy.
against Cody.
I don't hate that idea, but I also don't hate the idea of heel Randy in a triple threat with Cena and Cody, where Cena steals the victory by pinning Randy. I don't hate that idea.
Sets up the story for later in the year.
Right.
Where Randy beats Cena for number 15.
Yeah. And then Cody comes chasing after him. But anyways, continue.
Cody and his crybaby dad issues.
Cena winning. I don't think there's many other opportunities for him to win the belt if he doesn't do it now after winning Chamber. The only other way to do it would be to use Money in the Bank, but I really want them to use that for somebody that really needs it. Like, I feel like they can put that on Carmelo Hayes, or they can give it to Finn Balor to get back in the title picture. Like, I feel that Money in the Bank should be used for that.
Or
I
Braun
think Carmelo
Breaker.
Hayes needs to separate himself from The Miz first.
I think so. I don't think he needs to yet. I think that's going to help him get back on TV and people to realize exactly how good of a wrestler he is.
Oh.
And then when the time is right, he's gonna separate himself from him.
The Miz also needs to break Chris Jericho's number of Intercontinental title reigns.
Correct.
So,
The
but
person
I
I
want
forgot to mention before, with the Randy Orton thing, was Jeff Cobb. There's rumors that he's going to show up on WrestleMania and be Randy Orton's opponent.
I know he has a match on the 19th, I believe.
I don't hate that, but at the same time, I don't know if Jeff Cobb is a big enough name to debut at WrestleMania. I think he's a give him some vignettes for a few weeks and then let him debut kind of guy.
I know Matanza might be available. I know in the season 4 of Lucha Underground he died, but I think he gets a comeback.
Okay, didn't Thunder Rosa behead Luchasaurus in Lucha Underground? Didn't I see that happen?
Nah,
No.
different canon.
Ask Alpo of Stunt. He knows everything about it.
I met Luchasaurus last year. He was wearing a Lakers jersey, for fuck's sake.
Did you ask him about Big Brother? He was a contestant on there.
No, I didn't, but I did. I did know that.
I was about to say something about Big Brother Richie. Thank you.
He's a super cool guy.
Got you.
He's also fucking massive.
That's what she said.
All right, Shadow, what were we going to say?
I was gonna say, like, my whole thing with Cena winning isn't just based on the whole heel turn. It's based on the fact that I'm really fucking tired of Cody's run right now. It doesn't feel authentic to me. It just feels like they're just letting him go and go and go because of the whole year buildup that it was got to that point. And oh, my daddy died this and my daddy died that. My grandma got hit with the whipple bat. Like, I'm just over it.
Well, Cody didn't run. He walks to the ring. He doesn't run to the ring. So
Right.
if there's a run, I know he does the whole thing right over there
Right.
when he runs, but
And I don't think it's a detriment to Cody himself as a performer, because I think Cody's a phenomenal performer. I think the problem is there wasn't anyone credible enough to step up and do it. I don't think anyone was built up enough. I don't think there was anyone who could just jump into that and be like, oh yeah, I'm the guy that's going to dethrone Cody. So I think it kind of got stale because of that,
Hey.
and that's not Cody's fault.
well,
KO could have dethroned Cody.
well, it's
I
one of
missed
those.
the
I don't
opportunity.
think so.
It's one of those things where I think the two most anticipated feuds of Cody's run was probably Randy and Rock, and both of them they didn't do.
Yeah.
I think Cody's big problem was the lack of credible heels. Like, you had Drew on Raw, you had Gunther before he won the world title on Raw, and I just feel like they kind of missed the boat with a couple. I do think we're going to see Cody versus Drew versus Randy in the future. So I think his run's been fine. Hasn't really blown me away. I think the KO stuff is head and shoulders the best, storyline. I think his matches with AJ were really good. He got the best match out of Solo in that steel cage match. I think the only really big miss was the SummerSlam match with Solo, and that's because everyone was looking at the ramp waiting for Roman to return.
Here's what it is.
Anything else we want to talk about before we head on out?
I have one thing.
Sure.
I think something that I've seen a lot of is people think that this is a very weak WrestleMania card. And I just kind of want to throw this out there. Last year, the stars aligned in such a way that we had one of the best Mania cards we've ever had in our lifetime. I fully agree with that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I feel like the average wrestling fan, or I guess the IWC, is so fucking spoiled that they don't understand just how difficult it is to put together a wrestling card. It's one of the most difficult things to do, to make all of these stories line up and make them make sense and make the fans be interested in them. I think this is a phenomenal WrestleMania card. I think it's great. I don't think it's as good as last year, but I don't expect every single year to be WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania 19, WrestleMania 3. You know what I mean? I think the average wrestling IWC fan is a piece. So yeah.
I think what's messed this one up a lot is the build, where they've missed the boat on a lot of the matches, and I think that's where people are saying that this card is not that great.
Well, it's also you got an extra 2, maybe even possibly 3 weeks of build that you don't account for WrestleMania, and
I think that's the problem.
And it's this build hasn't really lit me on fire as much as past WrestleMania builds.
Right.
There's a lot of fluff. You get a lot of good stuff in there, but when you have to stretch it out, because with the Rhea Ripley, Bianca, and Io story, for example, it's like you could kind of tell where the story was going each and every week, like every story beat, how it was going to play out, like the signing of the contract, the special ref match, all of that. You could kind of like see where it was going because if you've been watching for a while, it's like, okay, it's going to go here, here, and there was not really any deviation from it. I think this WrestleMania build is comparable. Like if the show is as good as like the card suggests, it could be comparable to the WrestleMania 31 build because a lot of people don't remember that build was not that great, but 31 was a pretty good WrestleMania, all things considered.
31 was criminally underrated, and I will say, even if Seth didn't cash in, that main event was fucking phenomenal.
No, it was a good. It was it's the only one of two Roman versus Lesnar matches I like, and that's the first one.
The last man standing match.
Yeah, first and the last one. Those are the only ones I like.
Right, but yeah, I think the build hasn't been bad. I think it's been hindered by the fact that WrestleMania is 3-4 weeks later than it normally is. So, like the Jay and Gunther build it took 2.5 months to get ramped up to where something intense happened. We're like, oh shit, maybe we should pay attention to this now. And the Charlotte Tiffy match again, it took 2.5 months before something to happen, and they had to go off script and talk shit for that to happen. But like the build hasn't been bad. It's left a lot to be desired.
Also, SmackDown. I'm sorry, Shadow. Go on.
Go ahead, Richie.
I was gonna say also SmackDown being 3 hours is just a lot to get to. Like
I
it's
can't
just
stand it.
like I don't like any wrestling show being 3 hours. I think 2.5 hours is the perfect length.
That 2.5 hours is perfect.
Like the 3 hour SmackDown format, I do not like at all.
Yeah.
No, it's trash. It really is. I can't get through it anymore. I'll just fast forward. I'll wait till later and just fast forward everything. I can understand that they wanted the last stop of to WrestleMania being like Toronto and in Elimination Chamber. That was a month and a half ago almost. I think between Chamber and Mania, they should have held that Saturday night main event to kind of give everything kind of like a big pop moment to kind of heat that, like light that stove up again.
Also, like the space between like the Rumble and Chamber, it's like, oh, we're on the road to WrestleMania, but Rumble to Chamber, it's kind of like what Roadblock was, you know. It's just like, all right, we're just kind of biding time until we get to the Chamber match, and then that happens, and then XYZ.
Was it Roadblock or maybe it was called Fastlane back then? But the Triple H versus Dean Ambrose match,
that was Roadblock,
Toronto.
So fucking underrated. It was so much better than Triple H versus Roman.
When Dean talked about it in his book, I was like, oh, it's pretty dope to see, like, hear that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I haven't read that book yet.
The criminally underrated part of that match and that pay-per-view was it took place in one of the smallest venues in Toronto.
That's right.
It was originally a house show too.
Yeah.
It took place at Rico Coliseum, which is where the AHL team plays. Max capacity is like between 5,000 and 8,000, depending on seating.
So in AEW arena?
AEW's been there many times, yep.
That's funny. The AEW is coming to Detroit in a few months, and it's at the fucking Masonic Temple, which the last time AEW was in Detroit, they were at the Little Caesars Arena, which is like 14,000, 15,000 people. The Masonic Temple is like 5,000.
Yeah, good for them. They learned to shrink it up and utilize.
And plus, all the arena sizes, like this week, they look unique. So it's like I always like it when they have different buildings, like when they would go to Hammerstein or anything like that. Just gives it a little bit of more of a unique feel. And I think that's what you have to do to separate yourself. Like, don't try to be like all like glitz and glam with all like the LEDs and stuff. Like, do it like different from there. And I think it gets its own little charm across.
Oh yeah,
a lot of IWC members forget that Raw in the early days and much of the 90s took place in the same style of arenas and universities and like. I don't hate on AEW because of attendance. I hate AEW because of the way they put on their show.
The thing that I hate about AEW right now, there's a lot of creative stuff, obviously, that leaves a lot to be desired. But the fact that Jon Moxley has openly stated that he does not want to be the world champion right now, and Tony Khan is just like, fuck it, you're our champion because you're giving us bigger ratings than anyone else does. I think that's bullshit. I feel bad for the guy.
And just don't like the Death Rider story.
Oh yeah, John Moxley's gonna show up at Mania this weekend, guys.
Yeah, that's what my source tells me from the clean sheets.
Who's your source?
On the
Clean
clean
sheets.
sheets.
The clean sheets. Clean sheets.
But
Where'd Cam go?
no idea. I was just gonna say we're gonna get out of here because I think we're done with the show.
Are they gonna have like a dark match like Big Show after McIntyre won? Because we could probably
Yep,
predict
I
that.
hope so.
Yeah, I hope it.
You know what? That
I
was
hope
funny.
I hope it was Big Show. I hope it is Big Show.
I've been waiting
Or Mark Henry.
to make this joke about AEW has proven over the last 3 weeks with their new arena setup that size doesn't matter. It's what you do with it.
And then everybody agreed that it's great for AEW to be in smaller venues, and I was like, "Well, fuck you guys, the joke now."
Enough of their sparkler pyros.
Work for young Randall.
Anything else you
Miles?
guys want to say before we head on out?
Oh,
I want to thank everybody for coming on out tonight. Thank you for joining us for our predictions for WrestleMania. Thank you, Will, Shadow, Nate, AJ, and Richie for coming on out. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Please the algorithmic gods, as Will would say. And then be on the lookout. We're gonna have some new stuff. We're gonna have some stuff coming out. I think Monday night we might do a watch along for Raw this week. So we're gonna work on that. But just follow our socials. Keep us keep checking on out, see what's coming up, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great evening.
Will, you're
Everybody's doing sign up? What?
What?
Go ahead.
You want to say where people can find you? I know you don't
Yeah,
like that.
man, that's what I always do. What the fuck is this?
I don't do
Good.
shit. I don't know shit about fuck.
I want to hear Will do the thing. I've been waiting all day for it.
Will, can you do the thing?
Where you at, Big Daddy?
Well, now as we close another episode of WrestleMania Predictions with Off the Top Media, I want to take a minute. Thank you for listening. Remind you to go wherever you do anything on the internet, like follow, subscribe, unsubscribe, and then subscribe again. Leave a comment, tell me how great I am, or the fact that Shadow looks great in sunglasses. Either way, it helps the algorithm and it helps find new listeners. If you're feeling really generous to be one of the VIP people, go ahead over to patreon.com and donate to the Rivet City Radio Podcast Network. You get some fantastic swag. We get some fantastic guests. It's a win-win for Scals, Richie Mars, AJ, Nate, and my boy Shadow. I am the Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.
I have the weirdest boner right now.
Me too, dude.
Good night, guys.